Hello. What's up? This has been a long time coming for me personally. I've been wanting to do this for a hot minute, and I'm going to do it now. Picture this. It's 2008. 2008? Brawl release date. It's February 10th, 2008, and your grandkids will not shut up about this game. This one right here. It's called Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It's rated T. It's their first T-rated game. That's important. Cartoon violence and crude humor. Oh my god. But like, I'm a cool grandma. You're a cool grandma. We are all cool grandmas. And I wanna relate. I wanna know. That's what I'm here for. A man from the future. How'd you get this? I'm gonna be telling you all about the general plot of Super Smash Bros. Brawl and the general gist of all the characters in it. For the completely uninitiated grandmas out there, Super Smash Bros. Brawl is the third game in the Super Smash Bros. Series. There's Super Smash Bros., Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The general gist of Smash Bros., the first one, is that the characters, they're all from different franchises. At least at this point, mostly Nintendo. So in the first game, it's sort of implied / kind of shown in the opening cinematic that these characters are not the characters that are from their games. They're like dolls that have been picked up out of a toy chest by a floating hand, and it goes 3, 2, 1, go. Then they come to life and they fight. You know, like when kids play pretend with their toys. They're like that. And then the second game actually had like an adventure mode where you went through the various worlds that were just completely kind of unrelated. And so this game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the third one, is iterating and expanding with a plot called the Subspace Emissary. What is subspace? What is emissary? Emissary. A person sent on a special mission, usually as a diplomatic representative. So I don't know where they got that word from because it's a fighting game. There's nothing diplomatic about any of this shit. It's a silent film. There are no meaningful words exchanged in this story. Some characters just say the thing they're known for saying, but it's not like they talk to each other. But first, I want to acknowledge the inspirations behind all this. I just love watching long-form stuff where people just talk about things that they like. That's what I'm doing here. So, Jenny Nicholson and her Vampire Diaries video, amazing. Mike's Mike and basically anything that he makes that's over 15 minutes, phenomenal. Ben Saint and his Mega Man video. So, with all that being said, let's get a map. That took longer than I thought. Our map of the world. What world? Just the one that exists for this story. It doesn't have a name. Subspace Emissary, I guess. Is this the emissary of the plot to me? Maybe. So this is going to work as we have our map here, and we have space over here that I will be pinning up characters. I've got these little images from the character selection screen of all the playable characters in this fighting game. Did I mention it's a fighting game? It's a fighting game. As they're introduced, I'll pin them up in little groups. There are lots and lots and lots of little groups. I don't know if it's accurate, but I'm going to call each of them their own plot until they join up. So before we get started, for the grandmas out there, I will be explaining each of these characters' deals, as they get introduced in the cutscenes. They do a sort of freeze frame and label them. Most of those characters will be pinned up here. Some of them won't be. Sorry, I couldn't find a thing I could print for them. But I'll explain sort of what their deal is, their backstory, why they're important, why we should care, why your grandkids care or don't, and then we'll move on. So we start out with an intro cutscene in a coliseum in midair called the Midair Coliseum, and we pan to these two lovely women, Zelda and Peach. Bang, Zelda and Peach. First two characters. Zelda is known as Princess Zelda. She is a princess. And Peach is known as Princess Peach. She is also a princess. Let me fix this. All right, I think it's better. Is it higher now? It is. I need this space, actually. This is better. Zelda and Peach, they're princesses. Zelda is the titular character, but she is not the main character of the Legend of Zelda series. She originally appeared in The Legend of Zelda, the first one, in 1986, and she was the damsel in distress. You play as a guy, we'll get to that later. You go through dungeons, you fight monsters, you save the princess. That's Zelda. Peach, originally localized in English as Princess Toadstool, but in Japanese she was always Peach. And then eventually they just sort of combined the name. She's Princess Toadstool. Peach. She made her first debut in Super Mario Brothers. You know, Mario. That guy. We know who Mario is, right? I hope so. She was also originally basically the damsel in distress. You play as a guy, more on him in like 2 seconds. You jump and you run through some castles and fields, and then you get to save the princess. I mean, as the years went on, you know, it had been over 20 years since those original appearances. These characters did get more nuanced. This version of Zelda actually is not the same one that appeared in the original Legend of Zelda. Zelda games have various different continuities and timelines, and sometimes they fit together, sometimes they don't. It doesn't really matter. But this one is from the most recent release at the time, which I think 2006, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. That's why she has brown hair. Oh, wait, I was supposed to put them up here. That's Peach. That's Zelda. These are the highest quality images of these screenshots that I could find. Ignore the other information on Zelda. We'll get to that later. So, pan across them. They're excited. They're spectating. And then these trophies of Mario and Kirby are thrown in to the arena. Mario and Kirby. Mario is Mario. You know about Mario. I don't need to tell you about Mario. He originally appeared in the arcade game Donkey Kong, known as Jumpman. He runs and jumps on things. He is sometimes voiced by Chris Pratt. And then there's Kirby. Kirby is a little pink guy. His deal is he can, he sucks in enemies and he can swallow them to copy their abilities. You might think, well, he's one of the first characters in this plot of many, many characters. He must be really, really important. And he is. But also, the director of the game's name is Masahiro Sakurai. That guy. And he made Kirby. Kirby's his baby. Kirby was originally released for the Game Boy, no color, just Game Boy, in 1992 on Kirby's Dream Land. Mario and Kirby. They're all just sort of hanging out at the moment. This will get more organized real quick. So they fly in as these little trophies. They look like this. They have this little stand on them. This is not... This came much later than this game. And then they sort of glow to life. And they fight. They square up against each other. And you, as the player, you get to pick which one you get to fight as. So obviously you pick Mario. And this is where it's a sort of a bit of a timeline split, because then there's a different cutscene based on who wins. Basically what happens is Mario will touch the base of Mario's trophy to revive him. It's unclear on what kind of sensitivity these characters have when they are trophified. I think they're dead because they sort of just wake up as if they don't know how much time has passed. It's a little bizarre. Especially since they were thrown into the arena as trophies. That's never explained. That's just sort of ignore that, have fun. So then they cut to Pit. So Pit is originally from the Kid Icarus games. He is just like a little Cupid guy. He's got wings. He's got a bow and arrow. He can't fly. That is a notable distinction between him and traditional cherubs, is that he needs to be granted the power of flight by his goddess Palutena. Pit hadn't been in a video game. I'm sorry, it's 2008. Pit hasn't been in a video game since the early 90s. He's a bit of a retro character, and this design with his swoopy hair and anime boy eyes is kind of new. He's just kind of watching them. He's looking into a bowl that's filled with water and continues to overflow. and it projects the fight. It's actual gameplay. It's not your gameplay. It's someone's gameplay. But he's excited. He's a sports fan. He likes his sports. Match is over between the two of them. They shake on it. Kirby doesn't really have hands, so Mario just kind of grabs his nub and then just sort of wave to the crowd. And then darkness envelops. The sky is coated in these sort of reddish black clouds, and the battleship Halberd looms over. I'm going to put it somewhere here. I forgot to print it out, so that'll just be up there whenever it's relevant. And it drops these sort of black balls covered in purple fuzz that are sort of made of darkness. They're called dark bugs. More on that later. And the dark bugs form up into these generic enemies that are unique to this game. Don't worry about it. So the girlies, they're like, well, I want a bit of this action. Zelda teleports in, and Peach floats on down. Because Zelda's got magic, Peach has femininity. It's cute. So they beat the shit out of those Primids, and that's what the enemies are called, Primids. And then a new guy shows up. The Ancient Minister shows up. Ancient Minister is, as far as we know, original to this game. You can't pick him as a character, so I don't have one of these. That's what he looks like. So he drops this sphere on the arena, and these two ROBs open it. A ROB is short for Robotic Operating Buddy. Rob is not a video game character, technically. He's a toy. Nintendo used him as a marketing tactic to sort of circumvent the video game crash of the 80s by releasing the Nintendo Entertainment System alongside your Robotic Operating Buddy. And it's a toy, not a video game system. But it did have two consoles. And one of them, he sort of spun atop and put it on a button of the second controller. And on the other one, he stacked blocks. It was cute. It's cute. Like, I can't be mad at it. But now they're in the game. So these two ROBs sort of open up the bomb, and there's a 3-minute timer. By the way, it's a bomb with a 3-minute timer. And the Ancient Minister sort of gives them a knowing nod and flies away. Mario's hit by a cannonball. Bye, Mario. He's going elsewhere. We don't know where that cannonball comes from. It's never revealed, but we have bigger problems. The girls are in cages by Petey Piranha. Petey Piranha. They. Petey Piranha is a boss character from Super Mario Sunshine. It's like a souped up piranha plant, which is a base enemy from the Mario series, which is a Venus flytrap with teeth, like a piranha plant. Like a piranha that's a plant. But Kirby beats the shit out of him. And he explodes. This plant that is alive and can move dies in a fiery explosion. Okay, moving on. So we got a bit of a timeline split here, because how the boss fight with Petey Piranha works is it has 2 health bars in this fighting game, and Kirby beats up the cages to drain each of their individual health bars. And whichever cage is broken is whichever princess Kirby outright saves. Obviously, Petey Piranha explodes. The other one is free for now, but obviously Kirby saves Zelda. Peach. So Wario shows up. New character alert. Wario. Wario is just kind of a guy. He's not related to Mario. He first showed up in Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins, released in 1992. But like, he's just kind of a guy. His main qualities are he's greedy, he is fat, he likes to eat garlic, and he gets what he wants. In Mario Land 2, he was a villain, but then it's sort of the Mario Land series sort of turned into the Wario Land series. And now he just sort of does fun minigame collections called WarioWare. He has a motorbike, but not right now. He's got a gun. He's got this giant, it's as tall as he is. He's not a tall man, for what it's worth, but it's a big gun. And he charges it up. Takes a long time to charge. Remember that. He shoots the unrescued princess with an arrow. It's like a long black arrow, and it goes right through her torso, and she is turned into a statue. So I guess maybe she's dead? Hard to say. So Kirby escapes with the rescued princess on his warp star. It's just like a little yellow rounded star. He can sometimes call it whenever he wants, but it's very convenient. By the way, this little blur right here is the floating stadium. Not anymore. The bomb explodes and it sort of releases this like black hole thing that just sucks everything in. The gang's been split. We cut to Pit. Remember him? He sees the explosion happen in his little reflection pool thing. So he runs to Palutena, or like an image of her. She's this like large golden woman with green hair. This is her only appearance. She gives Pit his bow and sends him off. Again, there are no words. I guess he's like, "Can I go help, please?" And she goes, "Fine." So Pit goes to like some doors. I guess he's in some kind of temple in the sky. He's up here somewhere. The doors open and he falls back first into the sky. He sort of glides around. It's kind of dope. It's cool. Like, it's what you imagine flight is like. He goes and explores the clouds a bit, and then he finds Mario's trophy, and he rescues him. Pit is on the A-team. He rescues Mario, and Mario tells him what happened. Again, there are no words. It just sort of flashes back, and it conveys that talking has happened. Pit also sees, before he sees Mario, he sees the halberd, and it drops more bugs, and he does a fight. It's not super important. So then they see the halberd again, and we see an R-Wing take off after it. An R-Wing is like a spaceship that's also a plane. It's from the Star Fox series. More on that in like 2 seconds. But for now, we're going to cut back to the B-plot. So Kirby and his princess are being chased by the halberd. Like, it is right on their tail, and it bumps them, and they sort of fly into the air. But thankfully, they are able to land on the halberd somehow. They're just sort of chilling on, it's got a sort of flat deck on the front because of its lengthy shape. But not for long. The halberd starts shooting at said R-Wing that flew at it. R-Wing gets hit, doesn't go down, things are good. But the halberd has this like claw on a chain, and it smashes the R-Wing, and it starts to go down, and it flies right above our B team, who are just sent flying off somewhere. They're just falling for a very, very long time from a ship in the atmosphere. So, are you ready for a new plot? Meanwhile, elsewhere, bananas are being stolen. There's a truck with just a pile of bananas on the back. It's being driven by a Hammer Brother, which is one of the many Mario enemies. And we see Donkey Kong beating the shit out of some guys. We watch him just fully crush a Koopa Troopa's shell. It's only shown for like a split second, but like that guy is dead. Koopa Troopas are generic Mario enemies that look like turtles. But that guy is dead. Like if Mario jumps on a Koopa, it gets sent out of its shell, and then Mario can crush it to death. But it just disappears in a puff of smoke. This guy, it's schnasty, man. He wants those bananas really badly. By the way, Donkey Kong, remember Donkey Kong 1980? That's when he made his first release, or at least a version of the character. This version of the character was originally released in 1994 with Donkey Kong Country, like this redesign. Some canons say he is different from that Donkey Kong, some don't. I don't know if there's an official stance. I couldn't find one, or at least a modern one. The car, they want those bananas. I don't know why. I think they just want to piss off this monkey. They do, successfully. They fire bullet bills, which are more generic Mario enemies. They're like bullets with arms and eyes. But here comes Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong is Donkey Kong's friend? Some places say he is his nephew, his best friend, and his wannabe nephew. So I really don't know what their relation is. Diddy jumps on Donkey Kong's back and fires his peanut gun. It's a wooden gun that shoots peanuts, as described. Should I label this as a group? I don't think I should. It's just Wario and his kidnapped victims. His damsel in distress. I'm not going to do that. So Diddy fires his peanut gun at these bullet bills. 2 of them explode. 1 of them comes out. Oh no, what's going to happen? Fires 1 more. And it's taken care of. It falls right behind them, explodes. Cool guys don't look at explosions. It's dope. And they go, point. And then they jump down and chase after the bananas. Diddy Kong is from Donkey Kong Country originally, 1994. Also. So they chase after the bananas, and who has taken them? Bowser! Uh-oh, another villain! Put him over here. But away from Wario, because they're not together. But Bowser shows up, and he's got one of those arrow guns! Oh no! He's charging it up, and Diddy wants to, like, beat up Bowser, but Donkey Kong's like, absolutely not. No, sir. No, sir. And he just winds up a punch, and just hits Diddy into the atmosphere to save him. The arrow hits Donkey Kong. Rip Donkey Kong. I guess he's dead now. Diddy's on his own. He covers his eyes as his buddy is turned into a kind of corpse. Bowser is the king of Koopas, but also, like, he doesn't have, like, a kingdom proper in terms of land. He also commands Goombas and Hammer Bros and a bunch of other random enemies, I guess. Bowser's army just has really good benefits. Bowser's whole deal is he's bad. He kidnaps Peach. That's his thing. That's always been his thing. He originally appeared in Super Mario Bros., which was released in 1985 when Peach showed up. Back to the A-plot. By the way, they're, like, here. The monkeys, they're here. Mario and Pit went through here. We don't know where Kirby and Peach are. Mario and Pit are chasing after the Ancient Minister. I think they're, like, here-ish, because they came down from the sky somehow. Mario jumps up to punch the Ancient Minister, because he's on his little floating platform, but he misses. Jumpman couldn't jump high enough, but Pit jumps on Mario's head, gives him a little taste of his own medicine, because Mario's always jumping on guys. But he also misses, because he doesn't have his power flight. They chase. That's pretty much it. Back to this. Diddy is near a lake. This lake is somewhere in this forest. We don't really know. It's called the lake. Places don't really have original names. He's hanging out and he sees a fallen R-Wing. Oh man, what's the deal? It looks like it sort of crash landed, but not like super terribly. It's not broken. Out of this lake comes a legendary Pokemon named Rayquaza. Doesn't matter. It's supposed to live in the sky. So Rayquaza's thing, it was originally released in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire 2002/2003. And it's supposed to live like in the ozone layer, but it comes out of this lake and it's pissed because there's trash. It hates this R-Wing and it blows it up. It shoots a laser beam of energy ball, a powerful attack at this R-Wing. It explodes. Hopefully no one was in there. And it sees Diddy and it goes, lunch. Goes and grabs him. My monkey now. But remember when I said that hopefully no one was in there? Someone was in there. It was Fox. Star Fox. I know he looks like a duck in this game. I don't know why they did that. He leaps out of his burning ship and saves Diddy Kong. Star Fox comes from the game Star Fox. His name is Fox McCloud, actually, not Star Fox, which was originally released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo. So they fight. The fox fights the dragon, and so does the monkey. And they win. Good job. I guess he goes back to his lake. We never see him again. He was just mad. Diddy Kong's like, hey, listen, buddy, we gotta go save my friend. This guy. Again, no words, just pointing and ooking. Fox has better places to be, but Diddy doesn't take no for an answer, just grabs him by his shirt and pulls him along. So they run through, I think, a swamp somewhere in here. They're still in that area. And they find Bowser. Oh my god, they're gonna save Donkey Kong. Wrong. Not Bowser. That melts into those bugs. This is where I have the part where I explain the bugs to you. Shadow bugs are embodiments of a primordial substance that can take the form of any number of lesser subspace foes. Like all the random enemies. They can also copy the forms of trophies to create evil doppelganger versions of them, which Bowser wasn't a trophy. It can be extracted endlessly and was used to create the subspace army. I omitted some details because we're not there yet. Real Bowser's here, but he doesn't have Donkey Kong. We don't know where he is. Diddy's hoping to square up. He's like, let's go, dude. You've got my kind of uncle, the guy who I want my parent to marry, to the guy whose sibling I want my parent to marry. Let's go, dude. Fox says nope. Grabs Diddy by the collar of his shirt and they jump off a cliff. And Bowser laughs. Are you ready for a new plot? Introducing Lucas. Lucas is harder to explain immediately, so like, hold on a sec. He's got psychic abilities. He can conjure thunder and ice and fire by using his brain, kind of, somehow. It's magic. So Lucas is being chased by a statue. The statue is of an existing character who some people might know, but just don't worry about it. He's going through, what's it called? Lucas is wandering through the ruined zoo. What ruined it? I don't know. What kind of animals are here? Who's to say? By himself, and is being chased by a statue. I'd be terrified if I were being chased by a statue, and he runs. He flees. The statue continues to give chase, and it just won't let up. And eventually, Lucas trips on this root. This root pisses me off, man. This root doesn't make sense. So he's running. The front of his foot gets caught on the root, and he trips, and then it's covering his ankle. He's trapped. This statue is, I guess, about to step on him and kill him. But then what do we hear? A voice that goes, PK Flash! That's Ness. This green light explodes the statue. So now I can explain Lucas. So Ness is the main character in the game called Earthbound, which was released in 1994. It was a commercial flop because it had terrible marketing, but it's a fun game. So he's got magical psychic powers too. They don't actually use the powers they use in this game, which is kind of annoying. But for you, Grandma, don't worry about it. Ness is like a boy. He gets visited by a bee from space who tells him he has to save the world, and he does. And his neighbor, Pokey Minch, I don't have a picture of him, was localized to be called Pokey. His original Japanese name is Porky, and this statue is called the Porky statue. And who's inside the statue? Porky. But Porky looks old. The reason why Porky looks old is because he's from the future that Lucas lives in, because at the end of Earthbound, because Lucas is from a game called Mother 3, because Ness is from Mother 2 in Japan. It's called Earthbound in America. Mother 3 was also never released outside of Japan, infamously so. Lucas is from a very distant future, I guess. To make a long story short, Porky stole a time machine at the end of Earthbound and escaped to somewhere. And it messed with his aging, which is why he looks like an old child. So, that's also why he's in this weird bed. It's called the bed mech. There's our D plot. I guess they kill Porky. Unclear on if he was in the army or not, or if he was just like chasing these children because he's their villain. Suddenly, Wario. They kill Porky and Wario shows up. These kids cannot catch a break. So Wario charges up his gun, you know, the gun that famously takes a long time to charge, and he shoots Ness. He deftly dodges over and over and over and over and over again. Multiple times, which is weird. This gun is rapid firing. Since when could it do that? But whatever. So Wario goes, okay, I'll take that one. So he sets his sights on Lucas. Ness, he's a good kid. He's got a good moral compass. So he pushes Lucas out of the way and takes the arrow bullet thing. Lucas is scared. Reasonably so. He just watched his old friend. He just watched this guy that he kind of knows get murdered. And he's not about to let that happen to him, so he runs away. Starts raining, thundering. Wario laughing menacingly, holding up Ness by his statue head. It's sad. He's got Ness now. So Lucas keeps running until he stumbles upon Pokemon Trainer. I hope you know what Pokemon is. It's one of the biggest franchises in the world. Pokemon was originally released in Japan in 1996 as Pokemon Red and Green, and in America in 98 as Pokemon Red and Blue. This character is just Pokemon Trainer. You might know the character Ash Ketchum from the anime. It's not him. This is just Pokemon Trainer. They fight some guys together. Pokemon Trainer uses his Squirtle. Pokemon Trainer goes, all right, later, kid. But Lucas remembers what happens to his kind of friend, Ness, and is like, no, I'll go with you. And they move along. That happens about here, I think. I'm pretty sure it's about there. Did y'all want a new plot? Because that's what you're going to get. We pan across a field where a battle happened. There's like arrows everywhere. And we pan up to a fortress. It's called the Battlefield Fortress. And that is this. And that is the zoo. Can't really see it. but there is a building there. That's the zoo. That's the Battlefield Fortress. And we pan up to the Battlefield Fortress and we see Marth. Marth was from a game called Fire Emblem, which has a complicated release history. And then appropriate since he's next to Lucas. Marth is from a game called Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light, which was originally released in 1990 for the Famicom. It's the Japanese version of the Nintendo Entertainment System. US did not get Fire Emblem for a very long time. Not until, honestly, Super Smash Bros. Melee, 2001. Remember that? That was the first official appearance of Fire Emblem in America. It featured Marth and a guy named Roy, who is not in this game. Marth would not have his own Fire Emblem game in America until 2008, 2009, when the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon remake for the Nintendo DS came out. It was fine. Off in the distance, Marth sees a bunch of Robs and a bomb. They just explode the field, I guess. It's just like off in the distance, like here-ish. Like not near it, but Marth, he's nosy. He sees the ancient minister and his army approaching and he goes, let me see what that's about. Let me defend this abandoned fortress. So he draws his blade, it shines with a light that everyone can see, and he just one-man armies his way towards the bomb, the explosion. These black holes stay, by the way. They don't disappear. This floating coliseum is gone. You can't go back. I guess that's where all the people in this world were. They were at that coliseum and they all got sucked up. So he's working his way through this army, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Meta Knight decides he wants a piece of this action. Meta Knight is from the Kirby series. He loves a duel. He is obsessed with a good fight. He's kind of an anti-hero just because he just sort of does what he wants. Sometimes he'll invade Dreamland. He's originally from Kirby Superstar, which released in 1996, he just invaded Dreamland just cuz. And then Kirby fought him with a sword and won, and he goes, all right, you're chill. It's whatever. You may notice also, Meta Knight looks like Halberd. Remember that? It's his ship, but Meta Knight is here. He's not in his ship. So what's up with that? We'll find out later. So Meta Knight just decides to fight Marth. He sees him as a fun swordy challenge. They duel. It's not an actual gameplay thing. It's just a cutscene. And then they're surrounded by Primids. They go, okay, let's team up. So they fight off this little army, and they're chasing the ancient minister. Marth is... Oh, forgot to add another letter. Marth's on foot. He's a guy. Meta Knight's got bat wings, so he's chasing him down, but he gets shot with a laser. Pew! Not looking good. Ancient minister thinks he's getting away. All of a sudden, you hear these words, Great Ether! And a sword comes up and swipes down on the bomb and destroys it. It's Ike. I think that's the only time anyone actually successfully stops one of these bombs from exploding. Ike is from the GameCube game Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, which was released in 2005. You may think that he and Marth have some sort of relation because they are both main characters of Fire Emblem and have blue hair. No. Marth is the son of a king who dies, and then he has to retake his kingdom. Ike is the son of a mercenary who also dies, and then he goes to also save a kingdom. I think they're here-ish. Somewhere. I think. But that's not important, because here comes a new set of characters. So we see Luigi. That's Mario's brother. He can do basically everything Mario can, but he's a scaredy cat, and he can jump higher. He originally appeared in the game Game & Watch Mario Bros., which released in 1983. The Game & Watch was a series of handheld LCD game screens that Nintendo released for a while. More on that later. Luigi was just the name for the second character, and then he sort of grew into his own character later. So he is standing by a hill. I think here. He sees a Waddle Dee. A Waddle Dee is a base enemy in the Kirby game. It's just this sort of little pudgy guy with no mouth and eyes. It's cute. It just sort of walks by him and he goes, ah! And it walks away. And he's, thank God. He's just chilling. And then he gets his back blown out via hammer from King Dedede. It just sort of smacks him into the sky. Then he becomes a trophy. So that's fun. King DDD originally appeared in Kirby's Dream Land also, alongside Kirby, 1992. He was the main villain. He stole all the food from Dreamland, and Kirby, got a big mouth. He sucks stuff up. He likes to eat. So he beat him up, and they're just buddies now. Like, Meta Knight is occasionally a little anti-hero-y. King DDD is just an ally. Also, remember Masahiro Sakurai, the director of this game? Made Kirby, made DDD. DDD has a little voice. He goes like, that's Masahiro Sakurai's voice. Did you know that? Probably not. You're a grandma in 2008. DDD is very happy about this. He just brushes off his new trophy. And a bunch of Waddle Dees show up because they're like his minions. They're like Koopas are to Bowser as Waddle Dees are to King DDD. But they hear a car coming, and so they all skedaddle. They hide. So Wario drives by. He's got his princess and his Ness, and he sees this free trophy of Luigi just chilling on the side of the road. He goes, that should be mine. I want that. He's greedy. What do we know about Wario? Fat, garlic, farts, greedy. He loves stuff. So he's like, I'm going to take this. But unfortunately, somebody else, a certain penguin, was thinking a couple steps ahead, and he is just swarmed by the Waddle Dees. And not only does DDD take his trophies, he also takes his car. He just Grand Theft Autos him. So DDD now has the princess, Ness, and Luigi. And a car with a W on it for Wario. Did you think we were done adding plots, by the way? We can move F down to here. That's their own thing. These two are clearly not working together, but these two are. Still don't know where Donkey Kong is. Another plot! So we cut to Link walking through a forest with a fairy by him. Link is the protagonist of the Legend of Zelda series. Like Zelda, it's not always the same Link, but he pretty much looks the same. This one is also from Twilight Princess, these versions of these characters, so they're from the same game. And the fairy is confusing, because the fairy, similar to Navi, which is a fairy who accompanied him in the game Ocarina of Time, which, like, sometimes they use the same Link for different games. This Link is not that Link. So Twilight Princess was released on both the GameCube and the Wii, and when you pointed the Wii remote at the screen, there was a fairy, so it could be that fairy, but it might not be. The fairy doesn't show up after this. They're just walking through the forest, and Link finds the Master Sword. The Master Sword is Link's sword. It's like the sword from Zelda. Guess he was just walking around without a sword, or maybe he ditched an old one. I don't know. He pulls it out of its pedestal, sword in the stone style. Swing! That's his sword now. Also, he walks by Yoshi, who is just chilling on a log. Stump! He's on a stump! Yoshi is sleeping on a stump, not a log. So they walk by him, and he's just sort of like, what do you know? Halberd flies over, drops some guys. Yoshi's just like, what are you doing? We're fighting? Okay. And now they're teamed up. That happens around here-ish. We don't really know where DDD is, because, like, didn't really matter. I would guess maybe it's like here, actually. Yoshi, by the way, he's just like a guy. He's like Mario's pet, kind of. Usually in the Mario games, there are multiple Yoshis. Like, you'll find a Yoshi in an egg, and then you lose it somehow. But this Yoshi, this is Yoshi. This is the Yoshi that shows up in, like, Mario Party and Mario Kart, Mario sports games. It's indistinguishable from any other green Yoshi, but this is Yoshi. He originally debuted in Super Mario World, which released in 1990 in Japan and 91 in America. You would find him in an egg, and you could ride him like a horse. Another plot! We cut to somewhere. We don't know. It looks like a cargo hold of something. Maybe a ship that we've seen before. There's a box on that ship. It's got a little exclamation point on it. PlayStation girlies know what that means, but we don't. We're grandma. It kind of moves a bit. Maybe there's something inside. It's a cardboard box. How about another plot? We cut to an ass coming out of an air duct. That ass belongs to Zero Suit Samus. This is not the ass one. There's not a... You can't... I don't have a picture of it. This is her without her suit. This is complicated. So I'll start from the beginning. It's a very good place to start. So Samus debuted in Metroid, which was released in 1987 or 1986 in Japan. The whole original thing with Samus was like, big reveal, it's a woman! Because you play as this person in a spacesuit throughout the whole game. And at the end of the game, she would take off her helmet or her whole suit or down to her underwear, depending on how quickly you beat the game. And it's like, whoa, woman! That's crazy! Video game can't be woman. It is the 80s. But this is not suited Salmon. This is not suited Samus. This is Zero Suit Samus. She is in her Zero Suit, which originally was shown in Metroid Zero Mission, which released in 2004. It was a remake of the original Metroid, but at the end of the game, Samus lost her suit, and she was in this like blue skin-tight suit and kind of weak, and you have to sort of stealth your way back and get your stuff back. Where's her suit? We don't know. So she drops out of a vent. She works her way through the research facility number 1. She fights a bunch of Robs through a bunch of hallways, and she discovers Pikachu being tortured. She finds Pikachu in a little tube, and it looks like they are using it for some sort of electrical source, and it's clearly in pain. She does take a minute to double check that it's painful, but it's clearly in pain, so she breaks it free, and a bunch of alarms go off, and they fight a bunch of Robs. By the way, it's Pikachu. Like, grandmas know what Pikachu is, probably, but like, it's the Pokemon. It's the main Pokemon. There's one every Thanksgiving at the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade. It's Pikachu. It's got electrical attacks. Metroid has an arm cannon. Samus, when she has her suit. When she doesn't have her suit, she has got like a plasma gun, and it can turn into a whip. So Pikachu and Samus work their way through this facility, and they find some sort of control room, and they find on the camera, there's a suit. And Samus sees the suit, and she goes, yeah, let's go there. But, you know, it's a silent film. Pikachu and Samus are up here. It's not fully revealed yet on the map, so I don't think I'll show it yet. But just trust me, they're up there. When you can go select that level again, it's just like a brief land mass, like a small amount of land, but you're unsure what that is. So back to these guys. Kirby just kind of ditches the princess. They're walking on a road, and Kirby just dips. So Bowser takes the opportunity and shoots her. Pew! Gets that trophy. And he's got a dark Bowser, one that's made of the bugs. It does the thing where it makes a dark copy of the princess. So Bowser's got the princess. So this is happening here at the lakeshore. So remember, Yoshi and Link are here. Mario and Pit are here. So Mario and Yoshi run by the dark Zelda, taking aim at them with the gun, but it's sliced in half by Pit. Pit and Mario defeat the dark Zelda, and then Mario sees Zelda seemingly melting at Mario's feet and goes into kill mode. So then Mario and Link beat Mario and Link. So DDD drives by with his car and just scoops up the losing team because it's got an arm on it. The car has an arm, and he blows a kiss at them. Thanks. But then Kirby comes out of nowhere. He's just like, this was his plan all along, I guess. And he uses one of his abilities called Final Cutter. He makes a blade, cuts off the arm, and saves Mario and Yoshi. So now everyone's together. We got Mario and Pit, Kirby, and Link and Yoshi. Little team here. After their victory, they see King Dedede drive by. We see the actual Zelda. So confusion's over. It's great. It's awesome. Link shoots out Dedede's tire, and they give chase. So they catch up to the car at a cave entrance. So remember, that happened like here at the lakeshore, and I guess the cave is here, because I think they're going to go through the mountain. We can get rid of these now. So they go through the cave. We cut to someone else. I have this in my notes as the J-plot, but it's just kind of more villain stuff. Sure, why not? Yeah, these are just kind of like our main people, and then these guys are just sort of somewhere. We don't really know where they are at the moment. So we see a hand point and like tell Bowser where to go, kind of. And it pans up, and it is Ganondorf. Ganondorf is the not main villain of Zelda, but kind of. So the original villain of Zelda, of The Legend of Zelda 1986, 1987, was Ganon, a beast king, like a demon guy. It's like this big pig dude. But in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which came out in 1998, we met this guy, Ganondorf, who is like a guy with dark powers, but he also like houses Ganon, the beast king, the demon king. He can transform into Ganon sometimes. When he feels like it, I guess. Which is not often in this game. Not at all in this plot, actually. But this is him from Twilight Princess also. But it is the same Ganondorf this time. It's the same guy from Ocarina of Time. This is not the same Link. This is not the same Zelda. But it is the same Ganondorf. He got sealed in an alternate dimension, basically. And then he got out. And he's pissed. So anyway, back to these guys. Lucas and Pokemon trainers see a Charizard flying towards some very tall ruins. I believe it is this right here. They're like here at the moment. Pokemon trainer pulls out some photos of a Charizard and an Ivysaur. These are just like cuts of a full image. It's just the image of them from those cuts with a background, like Charizard on a red background, Ivysaur on a green background. I think he just printed them from home. And he pulls them out and he points. He's like, ah, yes, that's a Charizard. Thank God I confirmed that. So they continue onward. I can explain Pokemon now. So when you start a game, you have no Pokemon and you get to choose a starter Pokemon. They're always grass, fire, and water type. Charizard, Squirtle, and Ivysaur are part of the evolutionary lines of the first set ever from Pokemon Red and Blue. Squirtle is the first evolution of his line. Ivysaur is the second. And Charizard is the third and final one. So they make their way across this. They find this sort of entrance at the foot of this mountain. They make their way up there. And who's there? Oh my god, it's Wario! Lucas remembers Wario. But this time he's not afraid. And they kick his ass. Turn him into a trophy and they just kind of leave him there. They're like, we don't really care what happens to you. You're dead, I guess, now. So that's chill. Lucas is like, where's Ness? Where's my kind of friend? We can't find him. He's nowhere to be found. Kind of sucks. And Pokemon trainer comforts him. He puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, it's okay, man. You're cool. We'll find your buddy. It's cute. It's like the only character progression in this whole game, kind of. King DDD is chilling in his castle with his trophies. He's got his princess, his Ness, and his Luigi. And he's glad. He's chilling. I don't know where his army went. Guess they got the day off. Job's done. Pack it up, boys. And he gives them these cute little badges with his face on it. He puts one on Luigi's nose, one on Ness's chest, and one somewhere on the princess. I don't remember. He's so proud of himself. He's got his little collection. Then the ceiling caves in. Because Bowser's a dick. I don't know. I guess DDD's dead. Bowser really only cares about the princess, so he takes her. So Bowser has both princesses. Congrats. The F plot is just rotting under rubble now as trophies. So these guys go through the castle and they find a hole in the wall and they go, hey, let's follow that. There's probably no bodies under this rubble. So they chase Bowser to a cliff. What cliff? I guess that cliff right there. And Mario is about to just deck him, but Bowser holds up the princess. I was like, aha! You can't attack me unless you want to attack the corpse of your friend / friend. Yeah, Mario's just a really respectful guy and doesn't want to punch a princess. That's really chill of him. But Pit just shoots him with an arrow. Bowser stumbles backwards and falls off the cliff while holding the princess. But not actually. He falls into his clown car. But the princess drops her little DDD badge, and Kirby looks at it and goes, huh. That's interesting. Then the ancient minister blows up the castle. Back to this guy, Ganondorf. He gets a transmission from Master Hand. Remember like 45 minutes ago when I told you about the hand that in the first game, at the end you fight Master Hand. It's not a playable character. He's the guy. He's you! You're Master Hand because you play with these guys like toys. You let them fight. And then they kill you. This is what that has to say about Master Hand. The symbolic link between the real world and the imaginary battlefields of Smash Bros. A being tied to link between this world where trophies fight and the world beyond. The meaning of his existence is unknown, as are his goals, but he seems to have obtained and kept hidden a power that borders on absolute. He also seems to feel a certain joy in challenging chosen warriors who have claimed many victories. And Master Hand just points, and Ganondorf bows and grins. Something's happening! Meanwhile, these guys, Pokemon Trainer and Lucas, they entered that mountain. That one? It's called the Ruins. They make their way through, and they just find Ivysaur's trophy. And Pokemon Trainer just throws his Pokeball and catches it. Then they make their way through. Remember how they saw that Charizard? They get to the end of the ruins, and they fight Charizard. I think, because you can pick whatever character you want. It doesn't have to be like a Pokemon battle. Like, it doesn't have to be Pokemon Trainer using Squirtle or Ivysaur versus Charizard. Could be Lucas. Lucas could just beat up a big lizard so the Pokemon Trainer could catch it. Why can't you do that in the Pokemon games? And then they enter a really, really tall cylindrical chamber. It's very big. Cut to Gallium. This guy, he's a Smash original character. More on him later. He's just sort of soaring across the desert, I think like along here-ish. And our sortie guys, these three, they go, hey, that looks fun. Or at least these two do. And they give chase. And Martha's like, ugh. Fine. And he goes with them. Gallium is an enormous transforming robot and subspace army warmonger. He also never runs. He's always like gliding. He has a little tank mode. That's how he's gliding across the desert. So anyway, these guys catch up to Gallium and they just do a little pose where they stick out their swords. It's cute. I wonder if they rehearsed and talked about that on the way over. I hope so. And they beat Gallium. They fight him and beat him. So he does a little roar and jumps off a cliff, as many people are wont to do in this world. And where does he fall? But like that area in front of this cave right here that had a bunch of, this is a brick road. And it is not stable ground, and he falls. There's just nothing under those bricks. Where does it fall? Into a large cylindrical chamber where Pokemon Trainer and Lucas are. So they fight him. You fight him like back to back. And this time he's got nowhere to jump to. So he grabs Pokemon Trainer and Lucas and reveals a subspace bomb in his head and starts soaring up. He said, fuck this, I'm out, and so are you. Pokemon Trainer's knocked out. Out cold. He can't do shit. He can't call his Pokemon, he can't call Charizard. So Lucas uses a little remote control electrical ball called PK Thunder to blow the arm that's holding them clean off. Good for him. That's character growth. I mean, I guess he couldn't run away at this point, but still, he fought for himself. Good job, buddy. So they start to fall, like, I don't know, 60 feet, head first. They're gonna die. Pokemon Trainer is still out cold, and Lucas just sort of braces for impact. But Meta Knight swoops in and saves him. So those guys are teamed up. That explosion still happens. And who gets sucked in? Wario. They're dead. It's also like the biggest explosion we've seen so far. That's huge. Lucas and Pokemon Trainer shake hands. They're equals now. Pokemon Trainer isn't just protecting Lucas. Lucas doesn't feel like a burden. It's cute. So I had to move some of these because I realized that I put them in the wrong spot. This one's also in the wrong spot a little bit. It should be a little down, but... So the Ancient Minister, he sees this, and he has a little flashback moment to the Robs who explode the bombs. Just thinks about them for a bit. But he doesn't have time to do that because Mario and Link are given chase. They do not like him for a pretty good reason. But then a couple of Robs get in the way, and Mario and Link can't do anything about that. And a Rob grabs the bomb that the ancient minister is holding and like pulls it down. And they start to activate it. Mario and Pit try to like beat up the guys who are holding it and activating it, but other guys pull them off. One of the Robs just like waves at the ancient minister, and it just sort of like looks down as he flies away. We don't see the A-team escape, but I guess they do. I always heard show don't tell, but this game does neither sometimes. That's where the A-team was. So Diddy and Fox are like walking, having a chill talk, when suddenly Diddy's hit with an arrow. They're like, here, Bowser was last seen around here. You know what? He could fly. He's got his clown car. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't know what Ganondorf is doing, but Bowser is the most successful of the three of these guys. And he tries to shoot Fox, but he just dodges out of the way. He's as quick as a fox. So Bowser like makes a little evil Diddy Kong out of the Diddy Kong trophy. Suddenly, Falco Lombardi is a member of Team Star Fox. He debuted in the same game as Fox. Fox is the protagonist. Falco is one of his teammates alongside Slippy Toad and Peppy Hair. So Falco just like comes up with his R-Wing, shoots at Bowser, doesn't really hit him, but he launches out of his R-Wing. I guess it just flies off on its own somewhere, shoots the gun, and it explodes. So that's dope. And then they just rescue Diddy. They just touch his trophy and he's fine. But then they have to fight a big monkey. The evil Diddy gets like 3 times as big because it doesn't like Christmas. And they have to kill it. Bowser flies away. Diddy tries to convince Falco to come along, pointing, doing little monkey noises. Not having it, but he just grabs him by his collar and he comes anyway. It's like a fun little callback. It's the same. He did the same thing to Fox, and Fox just like, it's fun, it's cute, it's chill. Cut to a chained up Donkey Kong. It's still the trophy, but they have him in shackles, maybe to make sure that it doesn't slide off. But I feel like there are more efficient ways of doing that. That feels very specific, but it's on this sort of like hovercraft. It's on the water. They're walking near that like river thing, and it's flying off the river, and it takes off towards a floating island. I couldn't find a map with the floating island on it, so I just got one from a different video game. That, by the way, is where Pikachu and Samus are. Well, that is confirmed. Quick recap, the A-team is like here-ish. The C-team is here-ish. The J-team, we have no idea where they are. He's in some kind of room. The I-team is here. The F-team is dead. The E-team is somewhere around here. They're basically, A and E are blocked by this big old subspace black hole. It takes off toward this hovering island, and they're like, oh no, we can't follow it. Yes, we can. These 2 space animals have a big old spaceship, and it's called the Great Fox. The Great Fox is sort of like their hub ship. It was introduced in Star Fox 64, which was released in 1997, sometimes called Lilac Wars if you live in Europe. It's where they sort of rest and recover and fix their R-Wings. It's where they go when they're done with a mission. It's like a home base for Team Star Fox. Anyway, back to these guys. Pikachu and Samus find Samus's suit. They enter the room where it's being held. Hooray! They did some puzzles and stuff. There were keys involved. It was fine. But they're being attacked by 2 dark versions of Samus's suit. Not Samus. Not Zero Suit Samus, but her suit. Presumably made up of dark bugs. So they fight. The alarm goes off. Samus has her suit back. She is suited up Samus now. Or just Samus. And they make their way through some more hallways until they enter a large cylindrical chamber. Now, what does that mean, folks? We got a boss fight with this guy, Ridley. Like Samus's main rival. Kind of. He doesn't distress any damsels. He's always showing up. He's usually one of the big bads. Despite his appearance, he's not a dragon, he's a space pirate. First debuted in the original Metroid alongside Samus. Generally bloodthirsty. According to Metroid Zero Mission's Japanese website, he is known as the Cunning God of Death. I want a nickname like that. That'd be cool. Like when they call me up at the DMV, can they call me Cunning God of Sexy? and really just like basically kills Samus. He grabs her and just flies along the walls of this cylindrical chamber, drags her along the walls. Her poor neck. It doesn't look good. It looks like it hurts a lot. Pikachu uses Thunder. It's like the strongest electric type move. Samus falls to the ground and is fine somehow. So they beat Ridley. And they leave the facility and they exit to like the green outside. It sort of looks like this. This is like weird altar. No explanation on that. But they see a Rob with a subspace bomb, which I don't think they've seen those yet. But they just know it's bad news and they follow him and they go into another door back inside the research facility stuff. Did you think we were done adding new characters? Because we're not. In fact, we got another group. We cut to a bunch of Pikmin, which are these little plant guys with leaves or flowers or buds sticking out of their heads. They're just whacking on this Rob. They attack by hitting you with said flower. And we see Captain Olimar being a bit afraid of this. He's not a fan. Because the Rob just sort of shakes all the Pikmin off, and a lot of them die. Pikmin are very fragile. He's not happy about this. Olimar is from the game Pikmin, which was released in 2001 for the GameCube. He crash lands on the Pikmin's planet after being hit by an asteroid. He has to use the Pikmin, because he's really small. Olimar is like this big. He crash lands on the planet, and the Pikmin help him get his ship parks back to his ship. Strength in numbers, baby! Then one of his Pikmin, a red one, walks to Olimar and like points behind him, and there's this blue car hovering on up. Out shoots Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon is a bounty hunter / race car driver. I haven't played many of his games. He's from a game called F-Zero, which released in 1990. It's a high-speed racing game. He actually never comes out of his car in his games, so his moves in Smash Bros., his fighting moves, are all original to Smash Bros. It is cool. He has a signature move called a Falcon Punch, which he performs on this Rob, and afterwards, he bounces off and slides into the remainder of Olimar's Pikmin, killing all of them. The two captains, that's the name of that cutscene that happens. Two captains, Captain Olimar, Captain Falcon. What do they see? The little hovercraft holding Donkey Kong. And giving chase is Falco in his R-Wing, with Diddy also in the cockpit, which looks a little cramped. So he ejects Diddy, who dons his jetpack, wooden jetpack, peanut guns the guys off the hovercraft. Captain Falcon says, that looks like fun, and grabs Olimar, kidnaps him, and just jumps. Thankfully, they do land there, but they save DK. That's exciting. So now we got these guys all together. That was a very short K-plot. I moved Bowser a little lower because he was taking up space. So that's cool. Then they fight off some guys. It's chill. But Falco just kind of dips. He didn't get out of his ship, and he just sayonaras. And they look up, and they see the Great Fox is in a laser battle with the Halberd. So that's something. Let's get rid of the K. So the E-Crew has gotten to like here-ish, the base of this icy mountain, and they see the Halberd and the Great Fox in a laser battle. Halberd is tough. Great Fox has an energy shield. Seems like a stalemate. But Meta Knight sees the ice climbers just hopping on up the mountain, and they decide to race. The ice climbers, Popo and Nana, boy is Popo, girl is Nana, are from the game Ice Climber, which was released in 1985 or 1984 in Japan. That's the only game they've been in, I think. I don't think they ever got any sequels. They were the sort of retro character from Super Smash Bros. Melee, kind of like Pit is in this game. I could not find an official statement on what their relationship is. They could be friends or lovers, siblings, parent and child, cousins, paired up in PE class. But they're always together. They're chill. They're cool. But Meta Knight, he sees them climbing. He's like, I want to race. So he races them up. Meta Knight just loves a good challenge. It's just the two of them. Like, he ditches everyone else. He's got wings. They're good at climbing mountains. That's a boy. That's also a boy. They're all just boys. So maybe they're teens. Mostly boys! To no one's surprise, the ice climbers win this race of climbing an icy mountain. What a twist. But what do they find at the top? Lucario. Lucario was a Pokemon. Lucario is a Pokemon from, at the time, the latest generation of Pokemon games, Gen 4. Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Platinum hadn't come out yet. Lucario made his debut in 2005 in the movie Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, but it didn't actually have a game debut until 2007 or 2006 in Japan. Lucario sees Meta Knight, and they just want to fight. Obviously, Lucario wins. I guess it's like a callback to the Mario Kirby thing. Hey, you remember that Great Fox lost? Those claws that the halberd has, it sort of wraps them around the Great Fox, and it just smashes them into the tip of this mountain. The resulting quakes cause the ice climbers to fall down to where these guys are, but Lucario and Meta Knight just jump on the ship. So I guess they're splitting up. I put them at the bottom because they're kind of together, but not really. Give them a little space. Not a new crew, though. So, no new letter. So anyway, when the ice climbers fall, these guys all get attacked by the Primids, and the A-team sees that and joins up. So now, I made some adjustments. The A-team has gotten much bigger, so I moved the A over. These guys are on their own for now, so they're still the E-team. So after that fight, we see the Great Fox go down. It's very sad. Hope Fox wasn't on it, but he probably was. Falco's doing his own thing. He's in his ship. He's chilling. He's flying. We cut to the interior of the halberd. We see that box again. That box, we know it's on the halberd. Confirmed. And who pops out? Snake. Solid Snake. And he looks directly into the camera. He says, "Kept you waiting, huh?" Which is what he said in the trailer for this game. And also, I think, the only fourth wall break in this entire game. So Snake is from the Metal Gear series. The story goes that the creator of the series, Hideo Kojima, really wanted Snake to be in Super Smash Bros. Melee, but it was too late to add him to the game. So he's here. He's one of the first non-Nintendo characters represented in Smash Bros. That's neat. First Metal Gear game came out in 1988 or 1987 in Japan. He's a spy, basically. I could go into the depths of what his whole deal is, but that's a video in itself, and I don't have time for that. Just know that he's a really good spy, and he's good at every weapon. So Snake is doing some espionage in the halberd, but then he spots these guys, Lucario and Meta Knight, and so he hides in his box. Hiding in a box is kind of his thing. It's how he avoids detection from guards. It works most of the time, but not this time, because Lucario can sense aura, so it's basically like an X-ray vision for this box. He sees the outline of Snake. He picks the box up and makes the Metal Gear noise. They meet some enemies, and Snake joins up with them. He had one level to himself. So they eventually come up to this sort of mysterious chamber. And what's in this chamber? Princesses! They're in their cages. Remember those from way back when? How fun. And then some dark bugs envelop the princesses. This trio, the sneaky trio's got to fight the dark versions of the princesses. And they do that, and they free them. Hooray! But these dudes are like, stay here. But they don't do that. Instead, we are introduced to Sheik. Remember when I told you to ignore them? Now you can't. So Sheik is an alter ego that Zelda dons in Ocarina of Time. Remember that? This version of Sheik is a scrapped design for Twilight Princess. So Sheik's gender is often up for debate because, people like to do that. I'm gonna go with Sheik is the only trans character in Smash Bros. It's my video. I can do what I want. Zelda transforms into Sheik, and he leads Peach out of this chamber. Sheik and Peach make their way to the deck of the ship, where there's this dope-ass laser fight. There we see an R-Wing flying around, doing flips, dodging bullets as if they've fought this before, shooting it up. It knows exactly where to shoot. The cannon that happens to be right behind where Peach is. The R-Wing shoots that cannon. It explodes. Peach is visibly distraught. And Sheik, the king that he is, says, no, that is my princess. I'm protecting her. I'm gonna fuck you up. And he just jumps like 40 feet in the air and does a little ninja teleport directly onto the R-Wing that Fox is inside. And he punches the cockpit. and Fox is ejected, and they fall down to the deck, and they're about to run at each other and fight each other. Sheik's about to do a little punch, a little ninja strike, and Fox is about to do a kick, but Peach stops them both. She says, no. It's tea time. She offers Fox some tea, who is visibly confused, but Sheik's already enjoying his. Fight's over. It's the best cutscene in the whole game. So these guys, little sneak trio, they enter the cockpit of Halberd that is being operated by Mr. Game & Watch, Mr. Game & Watch, and Mr. Game & Watch. A bunch of Mr. Game & Watches. This guy, he's a two-dimensional being. He's also kind of original to Smash. He's an amalgamation of the Game & Watch games. I told you we'd get back to that, but Nintendo released a bunch of these handheld LCD screen games with like preset pixels that could light up in different ways to represent motion, like a hand going like this to grab something. And they're all called the Game & Watch series. They were released between 1980 and 1991, and Mr. Game & Watch just sort of represents that. He is the Game & Watch. So Snake kills all of the Mr. Game & Watches. He just punts them out of the cockpit, and they conveniently land right where Sheik, Peach, and Fox are. I guess Fox should move here. As they drink tea, interrupting their tea party, it's really rude. Snake has been nothing but rude to these people. I guess he is from like a mature game. Maturity does not equate to losing your manners, sir. All these Mr. Game & Watches turn into those shadow bugs things, which then form together into this creature called Duon. There's not much info on Duon. It's just a boss. One side is guns, one side is swords. Ooh. Thankfully, these three join in the fight to clean up their mess. So as they beat Duon, he just sort of dissipates into those shadow bugs, and all that's left is Mr. Game & Watch's trophy. Fox, ready to kill. It is on site for him. He does not trust whatever this is. But Peach goes, no. I'll take care of this. And she walks up and boop, brings him back to life and gives him her parasol. This two-dimensional man is holding a three-dimensional parasol, and he's just chilling. He's having a good time. He's with them. So Meta Knight takes his ship back. And all those dark red, black clouds that have been hollowing Halberd this whole time disappear. It's his now. It's a huge celebration. It's wonderful. Back to these guys. They are running down a hallway. There's an alarm. Things are bad. They bust down a door. They're working their way through this research facility. It's very interesting. The research facility has some of the only background storytelling in the game, because you can see these tubes where it seems like they are making the Primids. But also at the same time, when they just release the shadow bugs, the Primids just sort of form in place. They have enemies in tubes. It's a cool aesthetic. Samus and Pikachu, they run down this alarmy hallway. They bust down a door. They greeted by the Ancient Minister on site. Samus has her arm cannon. Pikachu's surging with electricity. But the Ancient Minister, he just looks down. And they're like, what? What's happening? They hold their fire. Cut to the C team, busting down a door, and they end up in the same room, keeping the groups together, kind of. So they're all in the same room. It's confusing. What's going on? A holographic Ganondorf shows up. It's like big and red, and he just orders the Robs to activate all the bombs. The Ancient Minister is like, no. What are you doing? And he starts fighting back. He's thwacking the Robs away, like, don't activate these bombs. They have red eyes. Their protocol tells them to do this. The Robs start fighting back. They start eye lasering their leader. He is burning to death. Everyone's trying to stop these Robs. Nothing is working. A bunch of birds show up. These birds are like, they're called this. They're regular enemies. But then, from the flames of the Ancient Minister, an eye laser starts shooting down the birds. It's the Rob. The flames go out, and we have the robotic operating buddy on our side. He said, none of this. I'm done. I'm gonna fight my own way. Why was he working for them? He clearly didn't like the plan. So why did he do it? So there's a fight. They fought off the birds. It's fun. It's dope. It's sick. It's tight. The bombs are still about to go off. So Rob, he blue eyes. He turns his eyes blue and tries to communicate with the other Robs. It's this real emotional moment where there's just them in the building. He realizes that it's no use. It's too late. So Captain Falcon makes a phone call because it's time to skedaddle. and he just grabs Rob on the underarm, and they're leaving. They're booking it. So they drop down a large cylindrical room. Captain Falcon goes, and here comes the Falcon Flyer. It's like a big ship. It's bigger than his other car. It's actually Smash Bros. Original. It originated in Smash Bros. Melee, which is kind of weird. I didn't know that. Presumably, it's how he travels through space. He goes to other planets to bounty hunt and race cars, by the way. So they're leaving out a tube. It's like a nice, convenient 2 long tubes. And whoops, here comes Meta Ridley. It's just Ridley, but he's coated in metal. It's a really dope boss fight because the arena that you fight on is the Falcon Flyer. And Meta Ridley likes to mess with it. He'll like knock it down. He'll try and drag you down. It's cool. It's a cool boss fight. And I think there's a timer. I think there's a time limit to it. They escape, but just barely, as the floating island is absorbed into subspace. Oh. I didn't make it big enough. Just ignore the edges. These guys, where's Falco? I totally forgot to make note that Falco was in the Duan fight, so he's with the Halberd crew. Falcon Flyer crew escapes the explosion, and they meet up with the A-team. And so does the Halberd crew. So everyone's together. Except for these guys. We've got the gang. Everyone's here except for the villains. We've got our gang, we've got the villains, and everyone who's dead. That's everybody. So, what now? We got this big ol' subspace, and out of it comes this big ass cannon that just shoots more subspace black hole things. So that's not good. And who's on it? Bad boys. Bowser and Ganondorf. They're firing the cannon. In the flesh, we finally see Ganondorf show his face. So the Halberd is heading straight for this cannon, but it's being bombarded with all these lasers. I guess it was weakened by the fight with the Great Fox because it goes down pretty quick. It starts falling apart. It's in flames. It explodes. The assault failed. Except it didn't, because we see 4 more ships show up. Captain Falcon's Falcon Flyer, Olimar's Hocotate freight ship from Pikmin 2, Samus's gunship, and Falco's R-Wing, presumably, because Fox's had its cockpit broken when the fight with Sheik. And so they're flying through all these lasers. They're dodging them left and right. It's incredible. But then we look up to the sky, and what do we see? Kirby on the legendary flying machine Dragoon from Kirby's Air Ride 2003. It almost goes supersonic. You can see those little waves like starting to form, and it just goes straight through the cannon and destroys it. The villains are pissed, and they have to retreat into the subspace, and all the ships flying after it, and we get all our guys in there, in this like dark void. Everyone's there. Everyone's gathered in this weird dark place on this cold-looking floor. Peach yawns. I guess she's kind of over it. I mean, same girl. The villains take a minute to regroup. They're pacing with each other. Bowser's walking along, and then Ganondorf pulls out the gun! The arrow gun! And shoots Bowser in the back, trophyfying him. And he just kicks his trophy. Rude! That was your guy. He did most of the work. Whatever. So Ganondorf goes and presents himself to Master Hand. He's like, hey, boss. Sorry. Things didn't go so well. But Master Hand is bound by these weird yellow chains. And who's holding those chains? Taboo. Taboo is the final boss. Taboo has been pulling the strings, metaphorically and literally, this entire time. So Ganondorf leaps at Taboo, like, how dare you? That's my guy. But Taboo just trophifies him. Easy. But the trophy falls into Master Hand, and it breaks the chains. And so he's free. This hand just starts flying up to punch Taboo, but he just gets blown away onto the ground. And we see that Master Hand has blood on it. In my video game, in my Nintendo game, there's blood. It's like a little bit, but still. I guess that's why it's got T rating. The punch did nothing. They couldn't touch him. So Taboo, nowhere near the gang, reveals these wings that just emit this trophyification wave. It turns literally everybody into a trophy. That's it. Game over. There's no one to play as. There are no heroes here. They're all trophies. Villains are trophies. Heroes are trophies. These guys been trophies. We're done. That's it. But at the same time, Taboo's like, if anyone can come stop me, here's some stairs. And then he surrounds himself with these like world spheres that have like images of places we've been. And then we see inside those crumbled ruins, these. The ones with King Dedede's castle. King Dedede's badges begin to glow and revives Luigi and Ness, who in turn revive King Dedede, and he's so happy. He's like, oh my god, guys, you're my heroes, man. Like, thank God. MVP right here for just having a dope badge. The three of these guys make their way through this weird subspace, come across Bowser and revive him, and Bowser's looking for a fight. I think he's just got some anger issues. They kick his ass easily. But Dedede revives him again because he's just that cool. And he's like, look at that. Look at those stairs. There are bigger issues here. And Bowser's like, fine. So I guess we got a new little squad. Wario's still dead. So by the way, as this team is making their way through this weird subspace where they get to Bowser and fight him, they are also finding everyone else's trophies, or at least some of them, and joining up with everyone. Assuming you did that, like, as the player. Oh no, it's uneven. But you don't get everyone. I looked at my notes. The reason why Bowser actually ended up joining is because he saw Master Hand's corpse. So I guess he was also, like, equals with Ganondorf, kind of, but not really. We've got about half the roster here with us. Only half. And that's when we see Kirby. Kirby gets revived out of nowhere. Weird. He didn't have a badge. Or did he? He remembers looking at and swallowing the badge that the princess had when Bowser kidnapped her. Remember that? So he gets up and he picks up the other half of the crew. When he meets up with King Dedede, he's so happy to see him. Dedede's like, hey, bestie, how you doing? Where you been? Let's go to the Great Maze. That's the name of the final level. It's called the Great Maze. If you revive Link and Zelda, they will revive, in a cutscene, they'll revive Ganondorf. And he's like, what are you doing? Aren't we like enemies? And they go, look at that. Look at that great maze. And he goes, fine, I'll join the gang. It's worth noting that a lot of these cutscenes only happen if you revive certain characters. Like, for example, if you revive Wario, he tackles King Dedede and he's looking for a fight. You've noticed that King Dedede is in a lot of these cutscenes. He's one of the only characters that the game can guarantee that you have at this point. So Wario's trying to pick a fight with King Dedede, but they're like, hey, look at the maze, man. Look where we are. Don't we have better things to do? And he goes, all right, I'll do it best. And he speeds up the stairs on his motorbike. So now that we've saved a nebulous number of people, Taboo is preparing another trophiification wave. He's pulling out those wings. It's just going to happen again. Like, they can't stop this attack. But you know who can? Sonic the Hedgehog, baby. I don't know where he came from, but he breaks up those wings and he's ready to fight. Sonic is from Sonic the Hedgehog, 1991. He's cool. He's fast. He's the fastest thing alive. He's awesome. He's dope, man. But he's not very good in the fight. I mean, kind of. I don't know. You could use him if you want. So they beat Taboo. And the Great Maze disappears. And all the subspace disappears. But also the island disappears. This thing disappears and the island doesn't come back. That would kind of suck, wouldn't it? Like, that'd be cool. If the city I lived in had a floating island above it and then it disappeared in a big old black hole, I'd be pissed. Wonderful sunset over the ocean, and it plays the gorgeous Latin theme of this game. It's wonderful. It's great. It's fun. It's dope. It's sick. It's tight. I had a fun time playing it. You may notice that there are a couple of spots left. There are 3 more characters who are not part of the plot, but you can get them after the game. Their cutscenes don't matter. They literally don't even take place in the place you get them. There is Wolf from Star Fox 64. Remember that one? Toon Link from The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I think that was 2001. Jigglypuff from the original Pokemon. Random. That's the cast. That's everyone. That is what the character select screen kind of looks like. It's in the wrong order, but I don't care. And that's the plot. was a good time. I had fun. The future games didn't really have a plot because the director of the game didn't like that people posted the cutscenes to YouTube, which I suppose you could have just watched those, but you know who these people are now, kind of. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I had a good time doing this. I hope you enjoyed it. I have other ideas for some really long things to ramble about. I'm looking forward to making them. I was supposed to write an outro today, but I didn't. But if you've gotten to the end, thank you for watching. I need to learn how to write a conclusion. You have a good day. Bye.